Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, it has just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. It laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts run.
Hello and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope you are having a great day, or you had a great night, or yeah, wherever you are in the world. I hope the time is good. It's chilly. I'm having a cold day, another cold day. No surprise. It's winter, and that is tend to be chilly me. Good morning, Susan, and good morning, Megan. Absolutely wonderful to see you two ladies here. I have been working a bit on Fleur, and I've decided to continue working on Fleur because if I really want to make just a tiny chance of hitting that goal of finishing it in 2025, I need to keep working on it also during the few lives I do have left for the year because it takes time. And I am not close enough to have it finished as I would like it to be. Meanwhile, I've been like going through the pattern, reading it, and I'm like, I feel I need to make a tiny change. I know, right? And let me see if I can try to explain that to you. Good morning, Revenant. I hope you had a great morning so far. And good afternoon, Hilla. Great to see you. So I'm having this like line of saying when I need to change color. So the first couple of rows we worked with the burgundy, then we changed to like a brighter red, which is the claret. We changed to the fuchsia purple, plum, emperor. Currently, we have been working with French navy, which is like row 101 to 107. I just finished row 107 last night. Awesome. Which means that technically we are ready to do a row of cream and then we should change to the color petrol. I do have it. And so, of course, I did cut the yarn because why wouldn't I? Because, of course, I'm going to change color, right? So this is the yarn I have left of French navy. It's about 32 grams, which is like a little bit less than a third of the skein. And I've done 4 full rows. And then I'm supposed to go into this, which is a petrol. So I'm now just talking about the rows where I'm working the color because obviously I have more rows. So as I say, I did work row 101 to 107 in this, though that sets row 101, 103, 105, and 107 is the French Navy. The thing is, when I'm changing to petrol, the rows is going to be 109, 111, 113, 15, and 17, which is 5 rows. But I only did 4 of the blue. And I do have more than enough to do 1 more row of the blue. And when I'm then looking at the last 2 rows, which is green and the bottle green, they only have 3 rows of each. Why is it that I would do 4 rows of a color, so to say, physically 4 rows, then I'll do 5 to go back to only do 2 rows of 3? I wonder if it's a mistake in the pattern. I don't know. What do you think? So I was thinking to maybe re-add the French Navy and do that row, because it seems more logic to have 5 rows, then 4 rows, and then go down to have the 2 rows of the 3 rows of those solid colors. Actually, maybe it's easier to explain when I put the whole thing on the table. Let's see if I can do that in a decent way. Let's do the dual screen and pop you guys down. And yeah, I am totally wrapped up in my everything that's warm. And I really need a new poncho, and I ordered one, so I'm just basically waiting on it to arrive. There we go. Because this one is worn out. It's just I've just used it too much, which is not too bad, of course, because it means I've been happy for it. And I could make myself one, but I can't make myself one in the time that I want. And I want one that covers my arms more than the ones I've crafted so far. Because what I really feel I'm freezing, I feel I need a second sweater sometimes. Anyhow, let's look at this. Like, as in, so here we have the burgundy, all the way here. That goes into the claret. Then we have this fuchsia. Then in the plum, as you can see, we have like 5 rows here of the plum, which is double crochets. Then it goes into 5 rows here of emperor. And then we do 4 rows of French Navy here, which is kind of where I ended, and I cut off the yarn because I just read the pattern. But then I started doing math. I don't know if that's good or bad. And then I'm going to do 5 rows of petrol before doing 3 rows of the 2 greens. That's weird. So wouldn't it make more sense to do 1 more row of this blue, would you say? Like, it doesn't look that blue on the screen, but it is a lot more blue in reality. I don't know if I should maybe, like, here you have it up in my little corner. That's a bit more accurate, I think, colorway. Anyhow, that is my thinking. Feel free to give your thoughts on this, because I do have a full row of cream. I don't have that much left on this skein. So oh my goodness, I forgot to take my yarn spindle. I'll just grab it over there. So I kind of expect to put my next cake on, which is a good thing, because that's 1 more skein used. Revenant says crochet patterns are like recipes. They are suggestions and method. You're free to make as many changes as you like. That's actually a quite good point. I would like to agree with that in many aspects, because sometimes we also option to use different yarns, right, than what is advised in the pattern. And we do that either because the yarn isn't accessible, or because we don't like the type of yarn used, or we want to give it a different type of flair, whatever. So we do have our reasons for it. So but as I said, we do have a full row to think about this, and a full row is a lot of stitches, I can tell you, because at row 108 we are going to do 215, 200. That's 860 stitches all the way around. That's quite a bit, by the way. Recipe calls for half a clove of garlic. Americans 17 cloves, understood. Oh my goodness, that sounds more like a Greek. They would add lots of garlic though. So yeah, the downside is, of course, I did cut the yarn, so I have an extra end to weave in. But I feel it makes more sense to add the extra round of blue for the rest of the purpose, if that makes sense. Like, if I look at it, keeps having fewer and fewer rows slowly as the yarn can't reach, obviously. And that just seems like a much more logic choice to do in my aspects. Because this is like, what, 2, 4, 6, 7. And of course, every row we increase, we have more and more stitches around. This is also why the burgundy has quite a few rows, because the burgundy covers row 3 until like 60 some odd, almost, I think. But I really like how the piece so far is working up, so that's a positive thing. But all these stitches, it is gonna be quite a lot of stitches. So I am just prepping my blanket because I've realized that sitting with it on my lap like this, then I'll do the whole side, and then at the end of that side, I will move my chair back out and I'll flip it a quarter around. That seems to be the best working method I've found so far. I already did start a little bit on that row. I did the corner. Not that that's an awful much, but it is the corner. This, by the way, is we're gonna paste to the in this pattern where I do have some counting to do. This won't be fully without counting, I'm afraid. But with a bit of luck, we should be fine. Previous row was all the counting mainly, so maybe we'll be just fine. So working the visible colors in this mosaic crochet, you work in the front loop of the previous row of that stitch, basically. And that kind of layers it on top. And if you want it on the back piece, so making room for other double crochets front row layering, you make them on the back single crochets, and that is why it turns out like this. So this is basically the negative side, so to say. And I need to decide also if I want to cover the negative side with a piece of linen or cloth or something like that, or fleece, or if I just want to keep it with the negative side. I am undecided on that. I'm kind of fine with both ideas, to be honest. I think part of it is also me not being keen on. I don't have a sewing machine, so I'll need to find somebody with a sewing machine, because I am definitely by a huge distance not willing to sit and hand sew that piece all the way around. That would be stupid. Or I need to start wishing for a sewing machine. My future wish for a present. What do you want? Like a sewing machine. I could also just wait on inheriting one. Like the day when my mom-in-law doesn't use hers anymore, why wouldn't I just grab that one? She has a really nice Singer. And the amount of time I've used a sewing machine in my life can probably be limited to when we had handcrafting class at school. In Denmark, I don't know if it's still like this, because obviously this is many, many years ago, but we had a handcrafting class. So it was basically, we had lessons every week, and we were supposed to learn to sew and to knit and to crochet and to do everything with fibers, basically. So using yarns or cloth or fabrics to create and craft things. And that was 2 hours a week for class 3 and 4. So we've been like, let's say 8, 9, maybe 10 years old at best. 8 to 9, probably. I still have my Kleenex next to me because, well, my nose is still sometimes having a runny moment. But yeah, so that's the short version. So let's see, we did 5, we did 4. Then I need to have 3 double crochets. Well, Cyber Monday yarn sale got me. Michael's had 35% off yarn, and I had a coupon, so I spent $40 to get $60.75 worth of yarn. That's a nice deal. I cannot blame you. I have been really good not buying yarn. That said, I have been insanely tempted, but I have not gotten anything. So I am actually rather proud of myself. I have been itching. Well, it's kind of a lie. Did I did actually order myself some tools. I ordered myself some knitting needles. Um, I will admit to that. I will admit to that. Yes. Oh, but looking away from that, I didn't get myself anything yarn related. I have been ordering Christmas presents. I have been buying myself a few new things. Like I did order myself a poncho with a discount. I ordered myself a new winter coat. Um, yeah, so I did get myself a few things, but not, yeah. And I ended up actually ordering a different winter coat than the one we had looked at because I thought it was looking nicer. I'm just now concerned if the sizing is good, but that's a challenge online. The good thing is they do have free returns, so in the event that it doesn't fit, I'll just ship it back and then I'll wait for a new one. We may get disturbed some way during this live as my neighbor has a parcel left with me that he needs to come and pick up. We received it yesterday when the parcel deliverer was out delivering parcels, and then sometimes when your neighbors aren't home, they will pop and try you. I received a parcel myself, and he was like, "Oh, would you mind taking your neighbors because they aren't home?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, no worries." Um, and he mentioned he would probably come by this afternoon, but we will see. But yeah, so meanwhile, it's just chipping around and around and around. So I really genuinely had thought, oh my goodness, I am completely done with French Navy. But like looking and calculating the rows and rounds and so on, I'm like, maybe I'm not, you know? Maybe I'm not. But yeah. This generally looks to be reasonably easy row because I did most of the counting last row for the changes. That said, there are some smaller changes here and there, so I cannot just think that I need to do the opposite on the other imprints, so it's not fully work along. But we'll see. But yeah, that was a really, really great deal. I hope everybody also had a great Thanksgiving weekend and got to spend time with friends and family. That would be, I think, most nice if everybody had the chance to do so. I got the Advent started in the sense of we had the first Advent Shop My Stash edition. And yeah, I will definitely start on some of those projects before the New Year's. I wonder if this is for me too. We'll see. I have a few parcels coming this week. Yep, it was for me, but it went into the mailbox. It was a skinny one. But yeah, as I said, I kind of need to work on this most of the time. So I may have some projects I can bring with me on the go. But generally I need to focus on this because else I won't reach to finish it. Now let's see. Four, and I just did 3 double crochets, so we're down here where we do 2 single, and then we follow the the negatives, which is like one double, one single, one double, one single, one double. So yeah, I'll definitely get some projects started, but I just really want to make sure this is a realistic finish, and then we can throw all the love on the rest. Yeah, that is my plans. But I've been good, you know. I've not shopped yarn, which is I think pretty impressive given the fact that I'm a big tempted yarn purchase person. Like there's been such a many good deals popping by, and I've been really good not getting any. Like nothing. Nothing. I am good. So we go to singles. Don't know if this is actually the best view you guys have. I think you could probably also even come closer easily. And we could pop you up a little bit like that. Ooh, I think that was better. So Susan has also been bombarded with emails, but she has been deleting them. I've opened them and just looked how tempted I can get, because looking is okay. And I've also deleted them. Oh, but I've oh my goodness, it's been blimey, it's been a challenge. It's been a genuine challenge, I will tell you. A good half of the order is for the blanket I'm currently working on, but there are a couple of Karen 1 pounds that just got to have them. $8 for a pound of yarn. Too good to pass up. It also gets you quite a bit of crafting pleasure, right? Sometimes we need to look at how much crafting pleasure can you get from it. But then we are back to me wanting to actually get a count on my stash. So we resort and we recount my stash to get it added to Ravelry. Well, that's next year. But I want to do that because I genuinely want to, like, you know, I can make an estimate if I keep crafting the amount I have been crafting. How many years of crafting do I have in my yarn stash? Which probably can't really be estimated like that, because reality is that life is bound to change on that account as well, right? Okay, so we did 8 singles. Then I need 3 doubles. Then the pattern here deviates a bit, so I need to math. Because after these we do 6 singles. Like maybe getting a real visual count on this amount of stash is what you actually have. If you intend not to buy anything, and if you intend not to give away anything, this is actually how many crafting hours you have available. Or how many years. It's going to be years. And I think it's going to be more than my lifetime, you know, right? So I just need to put it into perspective. And this is a great way of putting it into perspective. That was my thinking. Somebody was walking out there, so I don't know if that's my neighbor. We'll see. If it was, I'll hear it. But what was is that was my 4 doubles. Then I need to do 5 singles. And yeah, I have all my projects kind of planned, at least some of them. And I think I'm still going to do more projects than what we're going to go through here in December. But, you know, it's a good start. That was my thinking of it. It is a good start. So we're about halfway of this first quarter of a row, or the first side. Because now we're back to the 6. So now we're just mirroring what we just did, the first half side. So far that is easy. I finished watching the second half of season 7 of Outlander, and now I need to find something new to watch. Basically. If anyone has a good series suggestions, or the only other alternative is that I really need to consider myself of getting. But I'd like to wait until like January, February for that. Part of that is also because I know I won't be much home in December. Another reason for me needing to work on this when I'm able, because next week I will be away. So next week I am likely not to stream at all. Then we'll have to see. The following week is a lot of busy, busy, busy. Une. But indeed, I think the decision is made that I will do another row of this French Navy. It just seems so odd to do only 4 rows when the following will contain 5, and then the 2 following only contain 3. Like width-wise, it makes much more sense to change it up. Da, 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 da. Except for that, not much happened here this weekend. We chilled a bit. I did actually go to the fitness center. Still trying to convince myself to keep doing that. A part of me have been debating on canceling the subscription. My part of me is like, no, you should go. It's a challenge. And a part of me think it's because of its being winter, so motivation tends to decline in the winter. I think that's because it's dark and it's cold and it's, yeah. Other people also having a bit less energy in the winter time compared to the summertime. So we are getting closer to the end of this side. Oh, by the way, if you don't have gotten your drinks, don't forget to hydrate. That tea is still warm. It is a really good thermos, I have to say. It is probably the best birthday present I've ever gotten from my partner. I wished it for birthday because I realized with my old work that my tea was cooling off way too quick, so I could keep brewing, but I'll end up not. Like when I had time to drink it, it was too warm, and when I finally it was a good temperature, either it would cool off too quick or ended up in a phone call, and then was kind of cold when I was done with it, because during the call itself, I really wouldn't usually drink much because you're focused on fixing the customer's issue. That said, it is still my most favorite mug after that job because in my new job, it's also still keeping my tea warm, and I think it's really nice to have. So I still very much enjoy that. Also, I should say on Wednesday, it could be that I'm late live Wednesday. I will try to reach it on time, but I will not be able to guarantee it because my work is a little bit skewed on Wednesday due to the fact that I have to attend a funeral. Not something that I'm really looking forward to. Um, but the father of one of our friends passed away, and I've known him for years also. He was a member of the club. It is for the better for the good guy, the good person, because the last couple of years he was suffering from pretty heavy dementia and so on. But I'd like to pay our respects by going. Um, so we will be going on for the funeral on Wednesday, and that is it is before the live, but because it's normally when I normally will have to work, I will have to catch up on work before I will be able to go live. Maybe if I'm lucky, there is not a lot to do on Wednesday, and then it shouldn't be an issue. But it could be that I am late. So it's just a heads up that it could be that I will be a bit late with my live on Wednesday, but I will plan on coming live, so that should still be fine. The alternative is that we move it to Thursday or something like that, but I think we'll just do it like this. That should be fine. That was one too many. Of course, this was one too. Roman says he's down with either, whatever ends up being the easier for you. Yeah, I don't know yet. Kind of depends on how Wednesday looks, and I really can't judge beforehand. In any case, December is gonna be a month when I can't really predict when things happen. The only thing I know is that next week I am likely not gonna be live at all because I just simply won't be home some of the time. I am home Monday, but Monday is gonna be work and packing, and then Wednesday to Sunday, more or less, I'm gone. So I need to pre-record the Advent video as well. Um, and I won't have much time when I'm away either to craft. I will likely to bring a small project with me. just to have something. But I subconsciously expect not to have much for those simple realities of life. Let's see here. We need to do, yes, the rest is just negatives. Then the weekend after, so the last week before Christmas, so we are home. And again, I'm unsure. I probably won't be Monday. And then I will just basically in that last two, basically from here on out, after next week, I will be live at some stage, but I can't plan dates. It's, we have Christmas lunches. Hops have different days that he's working at home from that he normally doesn't, because he's making up for some other days. We're also traveling to Denmark for Christmas. I need to go purchase some presents. Probably be a good idea, actually. I ordered some, but I also need to still purchase some. Yeah, and then we're away for Christmas. Then I'll be home for a few days. Then it's New Year's. My goodness. So December is a month of, I don't know what, but it's a month where I'm doing my best to hang along. December is just a month of normal proceedings being preempted due to general holiday things. Yeah, I guess you could say that. For me, it's a busy month. So in Luxembourg, I'm there with my business, hoping to make a bit of cash. But they may also ask me to help doing the moderation of the finals there, because a good friend of mine who's normally doing it is not coming this year because it is colliding with another place where he needs to be. And now I know something else, but of course that makes logic sense. But that is not related at all to this. It was just because we're looking at the competitors list and we're like, why is this person missing? I'm realizing she's probably at that event, which is double colliding. It's a World Cup final, basically. Which would be really nice to go to, but that's not going to happen for two obvious reasons. Point one, I'm not competing anymore. Point two, no, am I requested to be there for any other reason? 2, 4, 5. Corner. And then we'll need 4 more stitches. And then it is time to turn this side around, my friends. I just need to ensure that my stitch marker is placed nicely, because it is a flippity move. And I really thought yesterday, oh my goodness, I'm finally done having a cold, and now I can just hear my voice. It's, yeah, still having its own life. You might not hear it as clear, but I can feel it when I'm talking. So we had 1 side down. We are ready for side number 2 of 4. And it is totally awesome if I can reach to do 1.5 round or something like this here. So I'm working on round 108, and there's 129 rounds on this pattern. And as you can hear, I'm gone for a week plus a couple of days around Christmas. I'm actually gone for 10 days in this month. we have 31, so we have 21 left where I can physically crochet. One we are currently active on. I have 20-ish rows left, 21 row left. I need to produce at least one full round every day that I'm home if I want to finish up this. And I'm not 100% sure if that's realistic for me to do. I'm trying, but that is why that when we are live, this is probably going to be what I will be having to work on because, well, 1 plus 1 is 2. And in this case, it would be 2 minus 1, as in the amount of rows and the amount of time and whatever, but you get what I mean. Anything else is a bonus, but at least a row a day would be needed, and then maybe at the very end of this month this blanket is done, and then I can stand with my arms over my head, be like, victory. I finally beat it, and I'm so impressed that these designers can crank out these patterns and have them tested and everything. Like, I don't know how often she puts out a new pattern, but it's definitely on a more regular basis, like once every couple of months or something like that. But yeah, I guess the difference is if you don't do anything else on that, then it does get a bit easier. But I keep being impressed with how people can crank out patterns at a certain pace. It's just like some people makes patterns quicker than I crochet them. Even if it takes into January, you'll still have a piece that will be amazing. That is very true. But I would so very much hope to be able to have it finished by then. Like, that would be awesome. But, if it takes 5 days into January, I won't be crying. I definitely won't be crying. I'm probably going to be all right with that. Yeah, I'll be fine if it goes into January. But ideally, I'm done in this month, and then all the projects will start in the next year. Woohoo! Now, honestly, I am likely gonna bring one of those projects presented here and the Advent with me to Luxembourg, because then I have something, and I need to bring something nice and small with me, just for practical things. But that is, I think, that's probably what I'll end up doing. Let's see. This is where we are. Just need to keep track of the pattern. As I said, every row does have some small deviations from the previous row. But so far, it is going good. And yeah, this piece is definitely, it's an amazing design. It definitely is. And I know, Ramona, you do like doing blankets, so maybe you should consider mosaic crocheting, like sometime in the future, like challenge yourself and do a mosaic crochet. It's not too bad, to be honest. And there's a few really good guidance on YouTube. I do believe there's also some free patterns. So that's a jump into it. Particularly Anke Wintermans, who designed this one, has made some insanely nice ones. But I also know that next time I'm gonna make mosaic blanket is not gonna be anytime soon, because I'm done for a bit. I'm pretty done. Like I wouldn't say I've had it, but yeah. Let's see if to this page. This is an overview. She has like 94 designs listed here on Ravelry. Some of them are paid patterns, some of them are not. Arctic Bloom looks really nice. That's like a sextacle. This one is really gorgeous. Blue and yeah, all sorts of blues. It is though like $10 or €10, but it is really nice. And she has a few nice ones, like Braveheart is also really nice. I think this is a back and forth. So the Arctic is worked in the round. I believe Braveheart is like back and forth. But it's gorgeous. Right? It's just gorgeous. What else does she have? Plenty, basically. Lots of different variations and colors. She also made a Cal at some stage. Free Spirit, if you know somebody who's liking horses. They make some really nice as well, in various colorations of the blanket. So there are plenty of options. I just know that I am gonna wait a bit before I'm jumping into my next blanket projects. I will probably try it at some point. My next challenge blanket will be Fiber Spider's cat stitch blanket. It will be making that as potential prize for Desert Bus, playing into the judge selected surprises. Okay. I'm making it in the colors of a cat. Ah. But I think that's a nice one too. We all need to start somewhere, but I would say I can warmly recommend trying it. Like it does give an insight into a different way of crocheting. I don't enjoy the time it takes, but I have enjoyed the process, and it does give you a bit of accomplishment feeling. Like once I'm done here, my goodness, I'm gonna feel so accomplished. I can't wait for that feeling to arrive. But right now, I just feel I'm cranking around and not getting far, but I know I am. Because every stitch, I'm getting one stitch closer to being finished. Susan says, oh nice, there are so many catch stitch tutorials. I haven't done any, but I know there are a fair few tutorials. In the case of these blankets, of course, the thicker yarn you choose, the thicker blanket you get, and the bigger blanket you get. This is DK weight, and I think it's gonna be like 1.5 by 1.5 or something like that. But yeah, Anke really has made lots of patterns. She's a Dutch designer. And yeah, it's quite some work, but it is awesome. So far, I haven't encountered any mistakes either in her patterns. She has had some challenging with people copying them, trying to claim credit. But I think many designers at some stage will experience that, unfortunately. Because there are people out there trying to make money on other people's creative ideas. So we got this done, done, done. And this is why we do the 6 singles, because we are heading towards the very center of this row. I do believe we have a few who's just hanging around somewhere, not peeping in, but you're welcome just to hang around. So just don't forget to hit the like button. Like that, I would very much appreciate if you do. I see that we only have 4 likes, but we have more watches than likes. So please do be so kind to dump a single thumbs up. And I need 4 double crochets. Okay. Now we go into 5 singles. And back on the doubles. And singles. And doubles. Yep, that is how this progresses. We change back and forth. To create a gorgeous pattern eventually. 2, 4, 6. But yeah, if I'm going to keep the pace, that means that next time we will for sure have changed color. Now that is a nice thought. You know, when I do the color changes on this blanket, that is really when I feel I make progress. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep. Because, you know, that's visible. Really visible. There's not much left on this either. This would be the cake that I'm currently working on. Let's see, I think it's 4385. It is 43. Nice. Because then it's 2. Then we have these 111 section. So I like when some of this is predictable, and you know, it kind of helps every time I do half a side or a side. Next side is just that bit easier because, you know, to some extent you can even remember what you did. So that's kind of cool. The challenge I do have now is that probably should take this one off. Look, this is how much yarn we have left on that original cake. It started out looking like this. Just saying. That's a difference between 100 grams and I don't know how little left, but not much. This is the starting joint. I'll put that one a bit into the center. But I took it off the yarn spindle because I think it's starting to yank a bit in itself, and that happens usually when they get a little bit too small. But it is most definitely very close to being complete. Now, what does the pattern say here? We have the 5 section. Revenant got his Christmas decor up this weekend. Nice. Well, I found some of my Christmas decor. Not much, but just a little, just to have a little bit. So I didn't put up a lot. I just put up a little bit. Oh, that's a Christmas tree we talked about. Presents are already ready. And the advent calendars. And there's a tin box which I instantly would relate to cookies, but I don't know what you have in it. But I do get in Christmas mode. I think that I actually want to crochet myself a Christmas hat, like a Santa's hat for next year. I think you did. Isn't that crochet the one you have there? It looks like it. The hat on top of the Christmas trees looks like a crochet hat. There are Belgian chocolate dipped cookies. That sounds nice. Yummy. Nice. Hobby got me on Black Friday. That extra 12% off was pretty good. Yeah, I was tempted. I was good not going there, but I was tempted. I kind of wanted to get some, but I didn't. Um, so I was being a really, 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 really good girl. I have to say, part of it helped that one of the yarns I wanted, not needed, but wanted, was sold out. So the hat was bought years and years ago. I think it's crochet made in China, so probably not great working conditions. Will not get it now, having knowing what I know now. Yeah, that happens sometimes, doesn't it? Like we at some stage have knowledge we didn't used to have, and that does make some choices that we make different. Like for instance, I would never purchase clothing on Temu. Not a chance. I would have no issues buying crochet hooks there though. Or in this case, I got my yarn spin. This is from Temu. I could get the exact same on Hobby, just double the price, and Temu not. So, and it works great. So, it kind of depends on what I would get, but I definitely wouldn't get clothing or something like that. My wife might have had it before we met. I honestly do not remember getting it. Well, there is your research item for today. You will maybe need to ask your wife if she remembers getting it or if she knows if she had it when you guys met. Just for funsies. I found the Christmas decoration. Um, and obviously I will have it behind me when I'll record my Advent series. But it's right now on the table next to the TV. And it is a decoration that is, I think it's 2 years old now or something like that. But it keeps nice. And why would I then go buy a new one if that's safe? So right now I think it cost me like €8. And now it's been 3 years. So she won't remember either. Okay, well, then it's probably just too long ago to not be remembered. I can ask her in a few hours when she's had a second cup of coffee and is more fit for human interaction. She sounds like me this morning. Oh my goodness. I was so tempted going back to bed and I really wanted to, but I knew that wasn't an option because point one, we were going live today. And point two, it's Cyber Monday, which means that I had a bit of work to do. I did though. I'm really happy I did work some yesterday because that did decrease the amount of work I had to do today. And I could have done more before I left. I could, but I've left it for tomorrow. I did the most important bits, which I think is important. So oh my goodness, we are almost done with this side, which is telling me it's about half an hour per side on this speed. Feels like I'm barely stitching, but that's a different story. I should be able to do more than 215 stitches in half an hour, but well, we are doing other things. Let's be fair to ourselves. We are being inspired by hobby and by whatnot. So it's not completely fair saying I'm not that fast. But yeah, I genuinely felt like buying yarns, but I didn't do it. So I'm very proud of myself actually. for not getting any. 5 and corner. So we got to the corner bit. That is kind of cool. Well, a bit less than 50%, but yeah, Ronan say here, streaming slows you down. Anything you do, but at least 50%, so give yourself some grace. I know it's a bit less than 50 because I know how long it seems to take also when I just sit and listen to something or watch something else. It doesn't change an awful lot in my pace. I will have to say that. But it's time to move back so we can flip this blanket around. Ooh. God gracious. Ouch. I need to just keep track of my trousers too. That was, I think, better. Good morning, Lisa. Grab coffee, grab tea, take a chair, sit down. It's ready for you. We are working on getting out of this piece, which means that I have one used cake for today, or well, skein technically. I just caked up the skein. Whoop, 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 whoop. As Monty Python says, always look on the bright side of life. And what I did discuss with the rest, but you are kind of new to this, or anyone else that's new to this channel since the very beginning. The pattern actually says I need to change color after this cream to petrol. But the petrol has one extra row of repeat of the petrol than the French Navy, but it is more stitches. And I have more than plenty of French Navy to complete it, so it feels really wrong to have 4 rows, 5 rows, 3 rows, 3 rows for the finish. Why wouldn't I do 5, 4, 3, 3? Because it gets less as you get further out. So that is what Stina has decided. I did cut the yarn, but there's more than enough to get all the way around on this. I've done the math. There should be more than enough to get around. So that is kind of what I'm planning on doing because it feels wrong otherwise. I got a picture of the 3 squares I'll be repeating for this blanket I'm making. Okay. Let's pop over and have a look. Nice. I'm challenged actually because I can't find out which of these combinations I like the best. If that makes sense. Like, I really like them each for their own. I really like the blues because I just like blues. I really like the rainbow colors because somehow rainbow colors mixed up together is just wonderful. And I really like those greens, blues, purples, teals. Oh my goodness. I can't choose which I prefer the most. So do not ask me to say which do you like most because I cannot answer you. I really like each on their own. But feel free to give and provide your preferences here. It might be that some items I'd like better in some setups than others, but generally I like them all. Yep. Lisa says she likes the green and the purple best. And Raven says they're already good colorways. That's my point. I think Red Heart, because I do recall it's Red Heart yarn, has done a really good job in the color combination here. Because one thing is that the yarn looks good when it changes individually. So, you know, the slower color changes. But another thing is that this still looks good regardless of which color you combine which color with, regardless. That's, I think, impressive. Sure. Shoot, Lisa. Lisa says she has a question for me, so I'm curious. Revan says in Mexicana, the rainbow one is a bit much on its own, but works really well as an accent. That could be true. Lisa says, I was scrolling through some of your old videos yesterday and watched the review of the Fairyland yarn. Have you used it for anything? Not yet. It's still in my stash, upstairs somewhere. Well, I know where to find it. Like, that's the scary part. I don't have written down which tub what is in, but I definitely know what crate to find it in. I just haven't used it for anything. I was thinking I could use it for maybe a hexie cardigan or something along those lines, or a vest or something. Sweater could also be. Oh no, that was one stitch too many. We'll frog one back. So I haven't used it yet, but I still have it. I still have it. I have a fair amount of ice yarns too that I need to use at some stage. Oh. Next question. Do you think 8 cakes would be enough for a hexicadi? You and I are similar sizes, you're just taller. I think I have 4 or 5 of them. That is something I don't remember exactly. I don't have 8, I don't think so. Maybe I have 6 at best. 4, 5, or 6. If I only have 4, I definitely don't have enough for a hexie. 8 would probably be enough, yeah. Depends on how long you want it. Like how much of the butt covers. But I think it would be enough. Your video's at 5 cakes. Okay, then I have 5. Thank you. See, that's why I need them written down on Ravelry. I just know I have them. And I have like 4 to 6-ish. Right? So that's kind of why I need to have a better, clearer view of my stash. So I wasn't too off, but not completely correct either. I think 8 would definitely be enough for a hexie cardigan. I wonder if 5 would be enough. And that is why I'm like wondering. I'm still debating. Could also end up being me turning it into a shawl or cowl or something like that. Or a capelet, like a short poncho-ish. But that then wouldn't be for myself because I've come to the conclusion, especially over the past week, I want longer ponchos. They need to cover more of my arms. I probably need more like rectangular or triangle ponchos and not just those classic diamond shaped. because it doesn't cover enough of my arms, and then I get to freeze. So I need to consider a way to do a different. I may end up having to design a poncho pattern. For Christ's sake. That wouldn't be a too bad idea though. I can recommend John the Artist's Canyon Drift Poncho. Okay. So, as I said, I just ordered myself a new one because I actually like how it looks. I could probably find it for you guys if you want to see what I ordered. Go away. My orders. Oh, I need to log in. Okay. And then I need to verify that I'm not a bot. Jesus Christ. But I really like the poncho, so I ended up ordering it. And it wasn't too bad either, price-wise. Technically, I think I paid like 20, a bit more than 20 euros for it. Because I got it on discount. What is this? I would have expected it to pop better up, but okay. It still doesn't. That's so sad. What is this? Okay. I'll flip screen. That's the original price though. It's like 27 euros. But anyhow, I ordered myself this one because I thought, look, it covers arms really nicely and it has a very nice cowl. This looks nice and warm. It should arrive this week. I'm looking forward for this one. And then I can retire this one. Though the black one I'm wearing right now, I will not retire it further than I will probably take some measurements because I really like the sizing of it. So I think I'm going to see if I can figure out a design, not necessarily to make a copy of this because that is not going to be easy. But I will definitely look at the sizing. I really like the sizing and shape of this poncho I'm currently wearing, which is also not similar to this one at all. So that is my current thinking, is that I want to design something, but to get to that street, I need to have some measurements. But as I said, I don't have, yeah, it's gonna be sometime next year. Maybe I'll have something designed for next autumn. And the challenge is, of course, if I design something nicely, I need to make sure it's something that I can maybe recraft and write a pattern for, something like that. That would be pretty cool. That's why I make more shawls instead of ponchos. My arms aren't covered enough with a poncho. I'm always cold. Yeah, so this is really nice because it's longer on the sides. That's what I like. So that's what I kind of want to sort of design. I'm not really sure how yet, but I'll figure out something. I like to wrap my shawls around and tie them on the back, essentially like it's a poncho. And yes, it does look really nice and warm, the one I found. So that's positive. But as I said, I am, because this one I'm wearing right now is basically, it's worn out. It's getting thinner. It's starting to get holes here and there where there really shouldn't be, just because it's used. And genuinely, I think it's, oh, no idea, probably 10 years old. So it's fair enough that it's getting worn out. But some of the other poncho designs I've made look really nice, but they just don't cover my arms enough. And if I then turn them on the side so my arms are covered, my chest isn't covered enough. And that is like, I need both. So I do need them sort of more round without being fully tent circled. Yeah, I have an idea. I have an idea. But if it's gonna work out in reality is a challenge. Oh, sorry. Well, I can recommend making the DC poncho in number 6 yarn that is 4 feet wide and nearly 6 feet long. That will cover you. Yeah, but I don't need like a tent either. That's a challenge, I guess. Oh yeah, and I set also out my winter coat, but I'm really curious if it will fit. I hope it will. I'm a little bit too scared I might have gotten it too big, but it could also just be that it exactly fits. I guess I intentionally ordered it. Like, there's two reasons for me ordering it a bigger size. I want to make sure I can have a warm sweater underneath, and I'm not 100% sure on the sizing of this particular brand because it's a brand new brand for me. Was totally intentional to make it that big. I'll be taking no further questions. It will also trip me. Yeah. Like, you will step on it, Lisa, by accident. Not intentionally. You'll just step on it because it's going to be so long. It's good we can laugh. Oh my goodness. I would be super happy if this yarn happens to be just exactly long enough to get all the way around. Not much left, but wouldn't it be cool? But I don't think it will. But we are working on the third side, so maybe if I'm lucky. But with my luck, I'm probably like 10 stitches short. I'll need to attach a new cake. But it would be cool not having to, because, you know, then the next row will be a bit less hassle to work around, you know, with fewer strings attached, so to say. Fewer working ends. As I was making it, I was thinking, taking the panels and holding them up, and they were just past my arms. I joined them together, and now I got a cease and desist from Omar the tent maker. Yeah, well, sometimes you can be surprised, right? I've also made things I was like, okay, that's definitely gonna fit me, and then either they won't, either they're too tiny or they're way too big. So that is definitely a genuine challenge. That's also why, with the advent calendar I posted yesterday, as I said, I know I wanted to use the kind feather yarn, but realistically, I don't think I have enough yarn to make the full, giving my current size and shape, because ideally I would lose 35 pounds. But ideally is also not nothing that's happening very quickly either. I can tell you that as a quite much of a guarantee. I finished my second very shawl yesterday, so unless I torture myself some more, I'm done with my Christmas makes. And yes, we have definitely all been at a interesting stage with a project or two. I think that is definitely correct. Who haven't been at a stage where we're like, is this how it's supposed to be? Or, oh, I should need a couple of more rows because, like, I still haven't finished that hat, by the way, the knit hat. But I'm very close. I just need to close it off. But I have so little yarn left. I'm like, I might end up having to add the new yarn while I'm closing off, which feels really like, darn. But well, if that's gonna be, that's gonna be, and that's just how it's gonna happen. But oh yeah, 246. And then it's 4. We're almost at the middle here. To do. Yeah, I think we've all had makes not turning out as we had 100% planned. One of mine would be one of my current VIPs, which I haven't mentioned for a year and a half. It's still just sitting there looking at me, telling me that instead I should probably just double strand the yarn or something like that and knit hats from it, because it's definitely not going to turn into the sweater I thought it was going to be, or double strand it or whatever with other yarn. And I've accepted that, because it's just like, while the colors are great mixed, it's just not gonna look how I intended. I will finish a sock for myself today. Oh, that's nice. When I was looking for the kind feather yarns, I bumped into some sock yarns. Not that I'm planning on knitting socks anytime soon, but I found 4 skeins of sock yarns. Probably also enough for 4 pairs of socks, because I think they were like 3.5 ounce skeins if I don't remember wrong. Just looking at me, being like, oh, okay, we're fine here. Sometimes we have to admit that a project would be better as something else. Yeah, correct. If I have not worked on a thing for more than 5 weeks, it gets frogged. The problem is this yarn is not frog friendly, so the 2 panels I made is going to have to go bye-bye. I'm not even in the mood to attempt the thought of frogging it, because it's like a fluffy yarn. It will tangle and do funny, and yeah. It's just a no-go for frogging. Socks are not nearly as difficult as I thought they would be. I've seen that you can also apparently knit socks on looms. So my challenge with the socks is the many double pointed needles you need to keep track of. But maybe it's getting better as I'm practicing closing off my beanies with the double pointed needles. I think knit, but honestly, I've crocheted socks as well, and it was okay, but I wouldn't exactly call it like they fit, but they're not as comfy as knitted socks, the crochet socks I made. So let's see, that is 8, 5, 3, and then we have 2. Crochet socks don't appeal to me. Yeah, it's I don't know what I can say about crochet socks. It feels funky. They're a bit stiffer to walk on. I've done it because then I could kind of like tick the mark saying I did it, if that makes sense. Completed. I made that once. Do I need to make it again? Not necessarily. But I have made it. So it's just like this, like kind of bucket list of items. I can cross it off and say that I've officially made it. I have made crochet socks. I don't like them either. To me, it feels like walking on gravel. Maybe that's why I'm saying like they feel chunkier or yeah, I don't think I'll have enough for the last side, do you? Not so sure. Not so sure. Maybe. It is gonna be close. If that's gonna be the event, what I may end up doing, especially if it's just 10 stitches short, I may just hold that 10 stitches and leave it hanging until I get the other round all the way there. Yeah, I may do that just for convenience of it. And then, jump back and do those few stitches. We'll see. Let's see, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, no, I don't think I'll be having enough yarn. But we are trying. As I said, we do have one more cake, but if that happens not to be enough yarn, then I'll definitely just leave that hanging for until I'm almost caught up with the other one. Because the thought of having to tangle a full cake around with me, if I don't yet need to, it's not that tempting. Then I'd rather make the 3/4 of a round with the blue and then add the cake. Susan says, I've only knitted socks in wool, sock weight yarn and DK only, no yarn thicker. Okay. My mom tends to knit them with, I think it's like 2.5mm knitting needles. Don't ask me what US size that would be, but like sport weight, sock weight yarn. And wool, and then usually there's some sort of mixture in it, like polyamide or nylon or something like that. Lisa is knitting in wool fingering weight. Revenant says, I was playing for low stakes yarn check and was fairly sure I had enough for this section. And I do have more than enough, but if I had run out, I have more than enough of this colorway to join on. But this is just one less join in the square. Yeah, exactly. I get that. And in my case, in this case, it's more like if I don't need to have a big cake hanging on as an attached working yarn, I'd rather not, but I don't know. If we might be a bit short. And then, well, we'll cut the work on this row a bit short and we'll just start on the next row because I can't do that. They're still fast. I'm using 2.25mm needles, so US size 1. No, that's tiny needles. I looked at the needles I had to use for that cowl and I'm like, they're so skinny. Oh. Susan uses a US 3 for DK yarns. They're thicker socks though, because thick socks are also not to be messed with. They are nice to have, especially when it's cold outside. The row is getting closer to be completed. Means we soon just have the last side to go. It would be awesome if it fits exactly lengthwise. I don't have too big hopes because I actually don't know. And I didn't think about weighing it for every side because it's not really necessary because I have extra yarn to join with. But it means that I have soon used my first skein of yarn in December. And that, my friends, is nice. November has been okay, but it's not been overly amazing on yarn consumption. So, and then it's time for the corner stitch. Like that. Let's just do those 5 double crochets that we start with on this row before we turn the project a quarter round. And as you see, I have a feeling this won't cut it to the very end, but we'll try. We'll try, but I no, it's probably won't. It probably won't happen. But we'll definitely try. I don't think it will. I really don't think it will. I do need to pull up my yarn consumption file. We'll have an update. If everything goes well, the plan is for an update tomorrow on the Decrease My Stash project, on the yarns I've used in this month. Was doing great on yarn stash uses for the year, then Black Friday happened. Brevent used 14 skeins of yarn, and then I acquired more than 14. My November is negative, I can tell you that, in the sense of I definitely used more than I got because I got nothing in November. Way to go, me. But I have to say, November hasn't been as good as I had hoped. It was close though. It's not bad. November wasn't bad at all. I guess that's also fair to say. Like that. That looks correct. Yeah. November wasn't bad. I would say December is starting off well. But you will have that update tomorrow, so I won't spoil. I won't spoil it. But December is starting well. Of course, it helps with having these two, with the color change and the end of another cake and so on. That does really speed up that consumption. But I also genuinely want to get another project started. So I am thinking that I should cake up those royal cakes as well, or the skeins for the shrug. I want to crochet, but I don't want to do it just yet. Well, I should do it this week though, because as said, this is going to be the main project. But I will bring something with me to Luxembourg to have something present, like I can grab if I'm bored. I probably won't have the time though, but I know for a fact if I don't bring it, I wish I had brought it, if that makes sense. I have an idea, but I don't think it's here. Yeah, they are. Hmm. Wait, I forgot 2 projects I used over 20 skeins in November. Awesome. Well, you definitely used more than me. I haven't broken 20. That said, I've also not been home all of November. And, well, you kind of realized how long it took me to crochet that shawl, which on the note I still need to get blocked. I can honestly say I was in the negative every month this year till now. Yeah. I haven't been in the negative. I've had some months where I unfortunately have definitely added more than I used. Some of the reasons for this is me needing some yarn for project, buying yarn, wanting free shipping, so I'm adding extra yarn to the purchase. That's me in a nutshell. Also used some of the yarn that I did get this year, and I also opened some skeins, but I didn't use all of them, so I can't consider it used. So I've probably used more yarn than the numbers technically say, if that makes sense. And just to be clear, I'm fine with that as well. Reverend says, well, I tend to work in 4-weight or higher yarn, so it works out quicker. True. One of the projects was in a 6-weight with a 9mm hook, which is nice. That really does go quicker through, doesn't it? I have to say the double stranding, triple stranding yarn is definitely also nice for your yarn consumption. So yeah, that goes for the thicker weight, works up quicker. Also, when I knit, I don't feel that the yarn consumes as quickly as when I crochet, which makes good sense because you can get larger items from fewer yards when knitting compared to crocheting. Crocheting eats more yarn. Lisa says, I understand the logic, but my hands just can't do big yarn anymore. It might not be, Lisa, but you're a damn quick crocheter still. Like, you really use yarn like I don't know what. I am impressed. I feel so slow compared to. But of course, I do also have other things in life. I guess that's very fair to say. It's not like I wake up and I crochet all day. Not saying that that is the case in your case either. But I feel that you're really quick compared to me. Knit definitely uses less yarn. I can get 2 pairs of shorty socks for myself from 100 grams hank of sock yarn. Yeah. Rona has opposite problem. His giant gorilla mitts can't deal with anything under a 3-weight. I am so sorry for you. So basically what you need is those gorgeous cake yarns to be like multiple stranded, so it goes to at least sort of a 4-weight. Lisa says, I don't crochet all day, laugh, but I am quick. Yeah, it feels like you crochet all day compared to the quickness you have. If I should reach to do the same as you do, I need to crochet all day, and I definitely don't have time to do that either. Nope, nope, nope. I didn't crochet all day yesterday either. I did crochet some, obviously, but Yeah, we're at the center, and this is like, we're not even at the center yet, but we are like almost there. We will get to maybe the center if we're lucky, but that's it. That's it. Wow, wow, wow. Yarn is gonna run out before the end of this row. But we knew that it was likely to happen. So what we are gonna do is I'm not gonna finish this row. Instead, I'm gonna flip the yarn around. So I'll like leave enough end for weaving in, and then we will go back and add French Navy, round 5. According to this, there's enough yarn to do another row, because why wouldn't I only be able to do 4 rows in this, but 5 rows in the following color, given the fact that every row I add 8 more stitches? Question mark. I should be able to do that, because the cakes or the skeins are equally big. They are equally many yards. It's not like they're different just because it's a different color. So that is my final decision. This sounds like Who Wanna Be a Millionaire. Is this your final guess? The guess for $1 million. No? 8-strand fingering weight yarn to make it worsted. That would be a mess to work with. I guess it all depends. If it's all like kicked up together, it might not be as messy as you think. Right? I did a 4-stranded one just not too far ago, and that worked up okay. It's just about being used to it. Even if I tried to stitch all day, my fingers would fall off and run away. I think mine probably would too. Or they would definitely be like, okay, you're bored, you need to move, you need to do something. That said, I would love if I was able um to do more in this pace I'd like to do myself, like, sleep, wake up, craft, maybe work, like everything on my own pace and terms. I'd love that. But I also just know realistically, if that would happen, that would be either I would not be streaming on a regular schedule here, or I'll have to not have a job. And I need a job. I don't have the $1 million question answered. Uh, uh, because I don't have $1 million in the bank. Wouldn't that be nice though? 2, 4, 6. There is no million in the bank, unfortunately. Would be nice if I had, but I do not. I could probably do these 5 stitches and that's it. That's the center. So we're like half a row or half a side short of yarn. And as I said to you guys, since maybe I could do some double crochets, but I'll leave it here. I like to have enough yarn to kind of like for working purposes. So what I am going to do is I am going to find my stitch markers and hope that I didn't pull out my internet connection actually while doing this. Do-do. I have the $1,000,000 question done. Okay. My dog is being hilarious. She's doing her version of begging. She wants breakfast, so she's sitting here not looking at me. Aha. Being like, I'm disappointed. It's time for brekkie. I haven't had it yet. My hubby just called and he's out of town today and is going through a town that has really good butcher. It's going to bring home a box of apple maple smoked pork chops. Oh, that sounds delicious. Well, you're saying they're almost to die for, so they have to be delicious. They sound really yummy. But as I said, we are this much short of finishing, which is not much. It's like 100 stitches, a bit less, not a bit more actually. It's like 110 maybe stitches. So here's the end. There's where we stopped. We have this much yarn left. I could probably do a few more stitches, but I'm holding it over because we need to make room for adding this. But given the fact that I'm only going to work for it for like 100 stitches, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this aside and I'm going to go back to the beginning and I am going to add back on this, I think. On the other hand, how I kind of make the yarn follow here. Oh, I should be able to start it actually. And I have an end to weave in. Yeah, I should be able to start it. That's what I'm gonna do. Because it's less yarn to sit and tangle around every time I move it around. And that is something I like, to be honest. But this one is still big enough to be on the yarn spindle. Not that there's much left, but it's still big enough. So I haven't done this before, like this, for this pattern, but I'm sure we will be fine. But I'm literally gonna ignore the fact that I'm missing quarter over half of a row. Well, it's technically an eighth of a row. And we're gonna start back up here in the starting corner with the French Navy. Because there is 1/3 left and it already did 4 rows. So don't tell me I can't do one more row with this. And it makes much more sense to do 5, 4, 3, 3 than it does with the other. So that is what we're going to be doing. So technically, I don't think I need to do it there. So we need to do it a corner. So we need to start by a corner. So we'll grab a corner, and they are single crochet corners, not double crochet corners. So can't do it in here. Well, could have also attached. That is the corner yarn. This feels so funky. What I also could do, I'd probably fine with that. Okay. So what they normally would do would be to come through there and to stitch up here. Which is not what's happening today, but we'll be fine. So that would be the corner. Except this looks really funky. The yarn is sort of splitting. Why is it messing up with me? Why is the yarn splitting on me? It really shouldn't be. Is this really telling me I really need to work it around? Ugh. Susan is being asked if she prefers to toe up or cuff down socks. I've not tried to toe up. Me either, was wondering. I wonder what the difference is. It's like if you start with the toes or if you finish with the toes first. Hey, Rikke! Welcome, welcome, welcome. This yarn is really not playing nice. So actually, I think I have to be doing it the less convenient way. So we'll do it the less convenient way and we'll attach cream. Because cream is, well, blue is being stupid. So that's what we do. We'll finish that row. Okay. That was not what I had planned because of the convenience of things, but when the convenience of things tells me that it's not gonna be convenient, but it sounded really convenient, then maybe that is how it's gonna be. And then, my friends, this is where I need to attach this piece. My goodness gracious, this yarn is just not being nice to me today. And then I'm trying to put in 2 stitches in the same as well. Oh my goodness. It's not really my day right now. That looks wrong as well. What's up with this? Come on. That looks better. It's just because it's loosey-goosey until it's even woven in. So that's the thing. I need to get it woven in, which won't happen for a bit. Instead, we will make it a nice little something, but I get why it looks funny now. So that's all right. So what we'll do is we'll make it a nice little, like if you tie your shoelaces, what do you call those? Like a bow? To keep track of my 2 ends. Who would have thought that I would have ended up not following my plans? Hella says you begin with a toe, but never tried. Okay. In other words, Hella will always knit her socks starting from the cuff to the toe. Lisa says I'm at the toe of my sock. Okay. I've only needed 4 pair of socks. One pair was not superwash and ended up 3 sizes smaller after washing in the machine. Predictable. Even though if it's superwash, you can shrink them, not in the washing machine, but then put them in the dryer afterwards, so they will shrink if you make them too big by accident. Ah, 5 pairs. The last pair was for your mom. Okay. I think Hella has stopped counting the amount of pairs of socks she's knitted her life. She has definitely made many pairs of socks. So, just need to put those in a nice manner. Weave in those ends. Good. I'm not happy with having to deviate a bit from the plan, but it's, well, it's what it is. My brains weren't. I think the issue is if I get all the way around and then I don't conclude that I did the join correctly or it looked funky, the thought of having to frog then 2 rows or almost a full row, but not needing to is like, then I'd rather actually just go back to how that originally would have to happen and then be like having the more inconvenience with an extra skein attached. I also saw the wish list of my cousin. She's wanting yarn. Unfortunately, none of the yarns that she's wishing for is in my stash, because else I could have gifted them to her. But nope, nope, nope. But if I've had them in my stash, definitely that could have been an idea. Like I say, she always knit toe up, so starting from the toe, she finds them easier to make. Okay. Guess that's worth a try. And as Susan says, it's okay that her sock shrunk because she's still in her learning, practicing knitting socks. Lisa's been on her 12th pair since she started sock knitting in late June. That's still nice. Impressive. Oh, I need one more less stitch. Frocking is anything but fun indeed. Exactly. So I'm decided to play the safe route. Trying to prevent frocking. And then it may be a little bit more inconvenient, but we are only discussing 1 row of inconvenience, to be honest, because the following row, technically, maybe 2 rows I could save my less convenient plan, but that's details. I'm going to give the shrunken pair to someone with size 5. Yeah, that's a good plan. They won't fit me though. But I'm sure there's somebody with small feet that would love a pair of socks. And yeah, there's definitely lots of sock patterns out on the market. Oh, Neighbors is there to pick up parcel, which means I will be back in just 2 seconds. Give me a moment, please.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. It laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, summer sky.
So, I am back. Thank you for your patience. Neighbor got his parcel and I quickly decided to use the toilet actually. So, let's see, where did we leave off at? Need to place the blanket nicely again so I can process with my task at hand. I've just did basic vanilla socks. I'm still figuring out knitting. Yeah, it's just about practice basically. It's with everything, right? Same goes for crocheting. It's also just a question of practice. And as we get more practice, we endeavor into more complex things. Thank you for the welcome back. And heading into 5s here. Susan says she's tried 3 different sock patterns so far. The Peyton's Croy sock pattern was my very first. They came out too wide for me, but I still wear them. You can always option to maybe, if you have like a thin piece of elastics, you can like crochet them in the cuffs of it, on the ribbing. And then that might be a bit less wide in the sense of, or you mean too wide around the feet? Optionally, you can take the gamble and put them in the dryer if they will shrink. If they shrink the right places is the question. That would be a gamble. I gambled mine, and believe it or not, it ended up from being too big to fitting exactly after the trip in the dryer. I would definitely not put them in the dryer once more, though. That will not be a good plan. I'm using Crazy Sock Lady Vanilla pattern, but I'm just adapted to it to be a shorty. Ah, okay. I think we can also all make short patterns, so that really shouldn't be an issue. It's just a question of, especially if you work them, like it's just a question of doing fewer rows. Susan says I tried to shrink them, but no luck. Okay, if they're made in wool or superwash wool, genuinely, a trip in the dryer will shrink them. The only question is if they shrink on the places you want them to shrink. There is no guarantee on that. Peyton's Croy sock yarn didn't shrink. Okay. Not a yarn I'm familiar with, but I think I cast on too many stitches. Plausible. Obviously, everything will only shrink to a specific given, so well, this is acrylic, this won't shrink. Even better, it's a premium acrylic, so it also likely won't fuss too much. Lisa says I did more damage on Black Friday. I had to stop at my local yarn store to pick up something. She had good sale. I walked out with 8 skeins of yarn. Oh, 7 still. Well, that was definitely not a decrease, but that's the thing, you know. Sometimes when it's a good offer, I guess we're okay to buy yarn. I've definitely not been decreasing my stash as much as I had wanted to this year. But I have to say, um, I am looking, and when I'm picking out the yarns for, like, when I attach this cake in 2 rows time, I will look for the next color, and like when I pick out from that crate where I had the yarns in for this blanket, you know, I start to see gaps, right? I can really see that I'm making a difference because I have less and less yarn back in that crate left over there. So I can see a progress made. I genuinely can. I have been thinking if oh yarn spindle is giving me a mess. I have been thinking if that's just, you know, if that's how I need to help myself. Getting inspired or something like that. Let's see, 2, 4, 5, and then I need the one around here, which completes this row, and then this is where this connects. Ta-ta. And then normally I would take the yarn here and move up, but I don't because obviously I don't need to. Instead, what I do need is, not really sure how is this. That's the bottom. Okay, cool. I need to take this one and work it in, which should be fine. And then I just need to have it a little bit longer. I'd like to have a bit of an end. We'll take this and flip over here. That will be my working end, yes. This, and then, my goodness, I'm having a mess, but I knew that. I need to do this. Ta-ta. To have my working end free of my other ends. Because I have two working ends technically, right? I have the working end for the for the cream, and I have the working end for the French and navy. Did I do the right one? I am not sure. No, I did not. That was not the corner. The corner is over here. Haha. Ta-ta. Corner. Complete. Goody. We are kind of ready to get started here. And I need to catch up on you guys in just a minute. I just first need to see 6 corners. So we have 1, 2. That would give 6 to give them all the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That fits. Awesome. Then we'll flip this work around and then we will catch up on chat. She had some darn good lace weight beaded silk on clearance. She had 3 hangs of one color, which is 750 meters. I can do something with that and it's gorgeous. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that is, I don't need to pull that in. I need to pull that in. That end I can ignore. That end is the important end. Like I says, I did buy more yarn when getting a new hook, but the yarn is to make Christmas sweater for DIL. But it's always okay to get something for Christmas. I ended up buying yarn like 2 years ago to get myself a Christmas shawl. It was like really last minute. And I got it finished on time, and I still have it, and I use it once a year. Actually, more than once a year, but I use it. Lisa, what did you make with darn good yarn? Oh. What did you make with darn good yarn silk? I was gifted a bunch of it and don't know what to do with it. Okay, Lisa hasn't made anything with it yet, but it does sound like a good catch indeed. A good point. Silk yarn is tricky because it doesn't stretch, so no hats. I would say shawl. But there are these beads on them. Let's pop over to the shopping screen, as I call it. It has these gorgeous beads on it. But then I'm still thinking shawl of some kind. right? I didn't see the beads here as much in this example, but they're very clear in this photo that there are small beads here and there. Gorgeous color though. Maybe scarves, I have a bunch of them monthly Hanks balls, so not a lot one color weight. If the colors match, well, that could still be okay, I think. Lisa would make a scarf, she thinks. But we'll see. I'm sure you will share when time is right. Let's see. I did my 6 single crochets, and then we go to a 7, the double. And I do believe the previous row was like 8. But anyhow, we have now officially deviated from the pattern by re-adding the French navy. And we should, based on calculations, have more than enough yarn. I refuse to believe otherwise. Because if I'm going to do an extra row with a different color on the next, but they have more stitches, I can also do it a row earlier, and I think it's going to be nicer. 2, 4, 6, 7. Then we have 13 single crochets. That would be until with here, because we have 1 stitch short here. We have 5, so that's 6, 10, 13. But yes, definitely keep us informed. All these great yarn sales has been like, come buy me, come buy me. I'm rather proud that I didn't get any. I got lots of other things, as I said, but I did not get yarn. I did get knitting needles. Because, so remember we spoke last week about these fake Black Friday sales? That was definitely not sales because the price increased by like 40%, almost 35%. I found the same deal for these, but they were back to the old price. In fact, they were €2 cheaper than the old price, so I grabbed them. Plus, I had the discount code for an extra €10 off. So yeah, then I bought them. I decided that was okay. So finally, it was actually a deal, like an official sort of deal. Okay, so they want me to do now 1 double, and then 2 singles, and then double, single, double. So because it was finally a deal, and I genuinely mean deal, because if I would get the same needles at, like, let's say if I would buy them at Hobby or some other yarn store, usually they would be almost double the price that I ended up paying. So I think it was a good deal, and that allowed myself to say, okay, I can have that. And then it's 2 singles. Deviates from the pattern, this one. So that's nice. I did, though, wish myself some extra wires for them for Christmas. Some shorter ones for hat making and so on. Plus, I need these needles, I think. That would be... No, I think they're actually too big for the project I want to make, so I need some smaller needles regardless. Mwah. Typical. Now we're back to 13 some odd, which makes sense. That's similar as to what we just did, so we'll do that. One more stitch. Done. Then it's 3 doubles, 13 singles again. And then I picked up some Bella Pom Pom yarn to hold double with a fingering weight cotton that I have to knit a t-shirt and make it tweedy. Oh, that could be interesting. I'm in the mood to get all sorts of fancy yarns, but I really shouldn't because we are back to make your project then. Like, you know, shop my stash, shop my stash, shop my stash. Susan, I need you to tell me to shop my stash. Oh, that was a stitch too many. A part of me has been debating on going to the supermarket, not supermarket, to the shopping mall, in connection with some Christmas shopping. But I don't know if the stores will be silent enough to be able to make a sneak peek store review-ish. Probably not. Which in that event would kind of suck. It would be nice to go through, as they seem to have new yarns. So I feel like going through them, but technically I should just stay away because they don't have anything I need. Well, that's not completely true. They might have something, but 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Perfect. One double crochet, chain 2, double single double, we're back to the 2 single 1 double, then I don't know if it is 13. That's nice and easy. So we can do that for sure. Oh. This yarn splits on me. The cream tend to split a bit more than the main colors ones. I don't know why that is, but I'm realizing I tend to move all the way back. I should not do that. It's a poor tendency of mine. Sometimes it's okay for the back though, but let's see. So I need one more stitch on this side. That should give 13. 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, indeed. And then it suggests me to do 6 double. So that is what we will do. Two, four, six. So what is everybody having for dinner today? Here we are doing the easy peasy version, and that is pancakes. I had other plans originally, and they got replanned because of what we ended up eating yesterday. I wanted to make soup, but since we also had a soup yesterday, we kind of decided to rechange plans, and then pancakes. It is. That was the 4 single. Now we're back to 6 doubles. That should be this exactly. Do, 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 do. So yeah, we are doing the pancakes. Some people may say that you can't eat that for dinner. Well, the Dutch tends to eat pancakes a lot, actually. They are thinner than the classic American pancakes. And then it is 4 single, 2, 3, 4. Then it's 2 double, 1 single, 2 double, and then it's at the middle to repeat and back. My dog has one of her bats under the table I have my Christmas stuff on, and she loves laying there because she's such a gift. Great. Ronan is making roasted veg potatoes and sausage for dinner. That sounds nice. The pancake pot is just like an easy dinner here. I have some eggs I want to get used. And easy dinner, it's tending to be for days when I stream. I do baby carrots and broccoli, green bell peppers for the wig. So I'm definitely in on the broccoli and baby carrots, but the bell peppers I'll kindly skip. I don't like bell peppers. Never had. Reg is doing spaghetti and meatballs on request from her kid, so that is always a good idea. We tend to make food based on the requests of our partners. So when I got home from Denmark, it's just been St. Martin Day, and I'd sent a photo to my partner showing that we had duck and caramelized potatoes and stuff like that. And he was like, "Why are you showing me stuff that I won't be getting?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I ended up last weekend to actually give him some caramelized potatoes to go with a pulled pork, because I was like, okay, he's grumpy. It's not very fairly done of me, so he got his potatoes. Keep house peace is also important sometimes, and it makes him happy. My wife loves the bell peppers. I skip them as they give me indigestion. Well, I just skip them because my stomach doesn't like them. And I don't like the taste of them either, generally. It kind of depends. Like, if they're really small and I can't really see them, I tend to be okay with them. But like big pieces and so on, and if I can remove them, I will remove them. But I'm not nitty-gritty for, like, if it's been in the sauce, it's not like I'm gonna have issues. I just skip them. Option to not eat them. Yeah, so we are back to the 13. But it's all healthy and nutrition dense. I cut the potatoes into cubes, toss them into olive oil, salt, and pepper, paprika, and garlic powder. Sounds like a nice mixture of ingredients, though. If you ever visit Hungary, you will realize how much paprika they do it in. That basically means there's a paprika store on every street in Budapest. So they can get their paprika for their goulash, I guess. That's a bit funny when you think about it. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Awesome. And then I do believe it was the yeah, 1 double, 2 single, etc. We just did that on the other side, so, or not the other side, well, on the first half would be more correct to say. Because we haven't yet started on the second slide. So now I finish this, I should have 13 again, which I do. Awesome. In my oven, it takes exactly 50 minutes for the potatoes and carrots. Then I add on a couple of brats in 20 minutes. Then final 15, I put on the broccoli and bell pepper so they are not burnt. That nice. I'm yummy. I'm hungry. I just skipped the bell peppers. The rest I'm in for. Totally. Susan says I have to go to enjoy your evening, everyone. Thank you, Susan. We're also here for another like max 20 minutes, so you're not gonna miss an awful lot. We're definitely not gonna reach to change color because I need to do another full row of cream before we head into the teal. Without promising too much, I think that on the next stream we will get to that color change. We'll definitely be close. But I have a few things to do between now and Wednesday, including a funeral, which is something I'm not looking forward to, but it's something that needs to be done to pay out my respects for the gentleman that passed away. One sheet pan dinners are great. Well, anything that you can make in one go, like roasts, pots, stews, etc., like where you don't make too much dirty and it's just simple, straightforward. I love that. Don't make it too darn complicated. Everybody greeting Susan, telling her to have a great day. If hubby makes it home today, I'll be making the pork chops with baked potato and corn. That sounds good. Dear people, I will at some stage come over and visit you all because you talk about so much lovely food. Fun thing is when you have to fill in your papers for the ESTA, at least that's how it used to be. You'll stand at the airport and the customs will ask you, or the guy will ask you, what your purpose are to traveling to the US. I'm just visiting friends for dinner. That would be funny. That's not going to be the case. I will tell you a fun story now, actually, about traveling to the US. So, when you're traveling from a German airport, they will ask you a range of questions. I think that will happen regardless, actually, if you travel to the US. But we got asked a range of questions as well. And first of all, I go to the queue for check-in, and I asked for the special check-in queue because I'm traveling with firearms. I have a sporting rifle with me, and I need to bring that with me to the States. And we're standing there in the queue, and you know, you'll get asked things like, were you a member of the Nazist Party between the year 1933 and 1945? I'm just looking at my passport being like, I wasn't even born in 1945, so definitely not either in the period before or after. Like, not an option. Negative. It's like, he like asked me and he was like looking at me and I'm like, how old do you think I am? Like, am I keeping that good shape? This is like, it might have been 10 years ago, this travel, right? But it wasn't like that long ago either. So like, crimey, can you like do math? I wasn't born, so why would I have been a member? Then the following that would happen would be like they ask a few other questions, and then it comes to, are you carrying any weapons, firearms, blah 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 question, and I'm like looking at him, being like, why do you think that I'm here in this special row? Like I just asked you if like I can do the special check-in because I know that I can't do the normal check-in, and he's like, right, that's a yes. It's like, think, please. Like, I can answer these questions for you, but you can probably also just answer them yourself for me. I don't know if he was American or if he was German. I was traveling from a German airport, but it's just, like, I'm standing there literally having a weapon in a gun case next to me, and I'm being asked, are you traveling with firearms? Duh. Think, please. Lisa says it's so cold here. Either way, I'll figure out some reason to turn on the oven. Oh, my goodness. I was ready to turn that one on earlier today. I was trying to do it without my poncho, and I realized I couldn't. I tried that every day, and it doesn't take me long. I'd rather take it off because I'm too hot than opposite. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. The Germans do love the bureaucracy and not known for their ability to deviate and ad lib in general rude. Yeah, I missed the obvious. Exactly. The weather in Winkler right now, it's chilly, I would say. Partly cloudy with a temperature of 7 degrees Fahrenheit, that's negative 14 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from south-southwest at 6 miles per hour, and the current humidity is 86. Ooh. And the weather for Helsingborg in Sweden is partly cloudy with a temperature of 41 degrees Fahrenheit, so about 5 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from south at 11 miles per hour, and the current humidity is 85. We should then do the weather here, not too far from me. Let's just do Nijmegen. And the weather in Nijmegen should be told from Nightbot in a few, maybe. Please, Nightbot. It says showers. That's probably true. It was sort of showering. Vicinity of a temperature of 44 degrees Fahrenheit, about 7 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from south at 14 miles per hour. Current humidity is 71. And the place for Waco in Texas. Cloudy with a temperature of 41 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing from north at 7 miles per hour, and the current humidity is 74. In other words, we are not going to compete at all whatsoever with Lisa on who's having the coldest outside. She is winning by miles. The rest of us are pretty close to one another. Actually, apparently I have it the warmest, which I had never imagined, given the fact that Texas is like further south. But I guess you can't just say Texas is automatically just warm. There's many places in Texas. Oh, it says it's cold. Lisa is even asking if it isn't unreasonably cold. Dogs wants out at Reke's place, so we'd better let dogs out. Two, 4, 6, 7. That should fit with the other end. It does. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a corner. It's corner time. Texas is not built for the cold. The fact is that it's only 41, has these poor thin-blooded Southerners in shambles. For me, I would be out in a light jacket and be fine. Well, I would find it cold. I have to say, my summer/autumn coat really kept me warmer for longer than I had dared to anticipate. Reality is that I really need a new winter coat, so I did order one. I am very, very curious how the sizing is going to be. I will be honest, if I got the right size or not. It's gray. It's light gray, the one I ordered. It's a bit unusual for an overnight temp, not at 10 a.m. Yeah, okay. For me, that would be fine weather too. I can imagine. I'm just checking if... Oh. We are getting there. We should flip this work around as well. But it's not like we will reach a lot more today, though. But a little bit. A few more stitches. Then we'll see how much I reach later today. But I'm not so sure because I do have some appointments today. I do have a few plans. No, it's more like please buy, not any shipping mail. So I think I'll earliest get it on Wednesday. But I think it's probably going to be later. We'll see. Two, 4, 6, 7. Yay. And then we're on to the 13. That said, we did reach to do a full row plus a bit more than a quarter, and we did get distracted and look at stuff. It's been productive, not as productive as I had dared hope, maybe. Also, it's important to say last week when we did that last time, that last row, when it was mainly single crochets all the way around, it's so easy because I didn't have to do the constant counting and checking, right? So that is valid to say. That it seemed really simple, but that's because it was simple, and that's why I could do it a bit quicker. Here I need a little bit more counting and changing. Also, the double crochets do take slightly a little bit more time than single crochets because it's one more movement in the stitch, like for the stitch. So it just does take a bit longer. Could be that I'm off by then, Rege. I am very, very close as well. Let's see here. I think this would be the... So I just did my 13, 13, and then it's 3 and 13. Yeah, I can do that. That's easy. Also, don't forget to hydrate on the home run. So we are currently working on row 109, and there is 129 rows in total, which means that given the base and the amount of days I have, 20. But a row takes me like 2 to 2.5 hours to complete. So let's say between 2 and 3 hours, depending on the day. And I know for a fact that I had 10 days in December when I'm not physically home. And I'm not going to bring this project with me anywhere than here. It's just too complex to shuffle around. Which means that I can only work on it here. And that means that when I have that availability to work on it, I have to work on it. Or I won't make it this year. Maybe I still won't make it, but then I've been close, and that I'll be fine with too. But I would genuinely be super happy if I can make a... Look, I finished my blanket on New Year's Eve or something like that. That would be so nice to achieve. Yeah. So there's like 20/21-ish days or so I'm home in December. Today's almost complete. So I need to do at least around a day to finish it for New Year's. When I'm home. On the days I'm home. This is the 2 singles and the double. Yeah, and then it's 13 again. Yeah, it's definitely not a travel project. This no. And that's why I need to be like very, like, So while we are going through projects we are going to start on, some of those will be easier to bring with me on the go, where this one is a no, not coming with me anywhere. So that's the current thinking I have. Then I believe it's like 6 doubles. Yep. 4 singles. So yeah, I'm looking really forward to having this one done and dusted. My good gracious. Okay, we are heading into the last 10 stitches of today. Or at least for the stream. I'm not sure if I will have more time today to work on this. But Tuesday. There we go. I feel like I could do a few more stitches, but no. I need to close down, unfortunately, because I need to do dinner as well. Even for me, that would be a lot. A row a day is a ton of work. Yeah, it is. That's why I'm trying to get this done. A row a day will be what's required if we want to have this done on the side of the New Year's. If I don't make it, it's fine. Then I'll be done middle of January. But I will try. I think that's what's counting. I am trying. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with me today. I had a great time. And what we should do is we should pop back up here and say hello. That should be back to standard neutral. I'm absolutely stoked that you chose to spend your afternoon with me or your morning or whatever not. And I will most definitely see you later this week for another stream. As I said, I will try to make it Wednesday, but I could be a bit late on that stream because I need to go to a funeral in the morning and I still have some work to do. Or it could be that I first pop in on a Thursday for the stream. It could also be that I instead option to stream Friday and maybe make a yarn talk video for next week when I'm not home. That would maybe not be too bad of an idea. So that could definitely be that I option to get around Friday as well. Not 100% decided, but it is plausible. I'm not completely sure how the rest of this month is going to go, honestly, when it comes to streams. But I will definitely be live once more this week. And then take anything you can as something positive. I hope to hang out with you a lot. But yeah, time limits is life. Everybody, have a great day. I wish you a wonderful day. Happy crafting. And looking forward to hang out with you guys again. Don't forget to hit the like, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't done yet. Bye.